Okay, Rowan Klassen is online. Okay, and my status. Rowan, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, I can barely hear you, but let me check the volume. All right. What else? Share screen, share application. Okay. I don't have any picture. Okay, never mind. I'll do that later. I'll do that later. Okay. All right. So, oops, that one. So before the spring break, we did the bond valuation formula, right? First, so there's nothing here in this computer, so I'll have to open everything. We'll download everything again. And you must also download the same file because, especially the Excel file, you need to download the Excel file. All righty. So, okay. So everything is gone, right? In this workstation, everything is gone. So I have to download all over again. All right. So let's put this down. So we already know basically how the bond valuation formula, right? The bond valuation formula is especially a coupon bond. Um, okay, this is enough. So basically, it's a combination of two formulas, right? Uh, one is the annuity, present value of annuity formula, because coupon payments are annuities. And then the present value of single cash flow, right? So we're going to do just one example and then move on to the yield to maturity part. So let's take a look at this example. The Emory Corporation issued an 8% 25-year bond 15 years ago. So what is this 8%? That means this is the coupon rate, isn't that right? 8% is the coupon rate. And 20-year 5 bond was issued 15 years ago. So that means we have only 10 years left. From this, we can tell time to maturity is 10 years, right? Time to maturity is 10 years. And at the time of issue, It's sold for its par value, the face value of 1,000. Now, and from this clue, right? I mean, this is a clue. This is a clue as to what was the discount rate at the time, right? It says at the time of the issue, it sold for par value. Do you remember? Let me see if I can open. Is there a whiteboard? I don't think there's a whiteboard here. Windows accessories. There's no whiteboard, right? There's no whiteboard. So, oh, I used OneNote instead previously. So it's almost everything is all as if it is new all over again. Okay. So, okay. Now, everyone knows that what is premium bond and what is discount bond? Everyone, right? What's a premium bond? What's the premium bond? You forgot? I'm not even asking what makes a bond a premium bond, but I'm only asking what is greater? I mean, what is greater? What is greater than? I mean, when you say greater, it's a
higher than the market interest rate.
Oh, okay. So two conflicting. Okay, you are both right, but which one is which? I only asked what is a premium bond. So what's a premium bond? Say it louder, please. Yeah, a bond that sells at a higher price than the par value, right? So you both got it right. I mean, I think what you're saying is, greater than the par value. Greater, when you say greater, something, what is the subject? The bond price, right? Selling price of the bond, right? Is greater. It's a comparative, right? Comparative. So it should be followed by then something. So the price of the bond, right? Selling price of the bond is greater than the par value of the bond. That's the premium bond. And then Cedric, what you said is that's the answer to what causes a bond to become a premium bond, right? And then you said greater than the market, greater than what? I mean, you said something about the rate, right? What did you say?
Market interest rate higher than market interest rate.
So what is higher than the market interest rate? You missed the subject of the sentence. What is greater than the market interest rate? No. Selling price is greater than the par value. Think about it. Price is dollars, in dollars. Interest rate is percentage. You cannot compare them. You cannot compare. Huh? The interest rate, yeah, the coupon interest rate. The coupon interest rate is greater than the prevailing market rate, right? Then it becomes a premium bond. So that's the question of cause and effect. What causes the bond to become a premium bond? So, well, I will give you credit for. Okay, where's my pen? Where did I put my pen? Okay, so this is fnb100, 1500, and so Daniela, you answered two questions, so I'll give you one, and Cedric, I'll give you 0.5, and Dilly, right? Dilly, I'll give you 0.5. All right, yeah, so you answered it well. Premium bond is a bond that, okay, I'm going to use, so the price of the bond, if the price of the bond is greater than the par value, right? The face value, right? Discount bond is the case where the price of the bond, let me put it this way, selling price, I think, face value. So, but if, okay, before I do that, but what makes this happen? Well, if the coupon rate is greater than the prevailing market rate, right? If the coupon rate is less than the prevailing market rate, then it's going to become a discount bond. But there is also a situation where price of the bond is equal to the par value. If the price of the bond is equal to the par value, then there is no particular name. You just say, just call it, you just say the bond is selling at par value, right? And what would cause this to happen? What would cause this to happen? Think about it. What would cause this to happen? And obviously, there's only one conclusion. The coupon rate is equal to the discount rate, right? The coupon rate is equal to the prevailing market rate. That's the only way, right? Think about it. If it is greater, if the coupon rate is greater than, if the coupon rate is greater than the prevailing market rate, then it becomes a premium bond, and vice versa. If it is less than, but then if the coupon rate is equal to the prevailing market rate, then it will have to sell at par value. So from this, right, we can tell from this, oh, at the time of the issue, it's sold for its par value. So that means, oh, at the time of the issue, then, oh, the prevailing market rate was also 8% at the time, right? We can make that educated guess. Isn't that right? However, now, comparable bonds are yielding 10% today. Comparable bonds are yielding 10% today. What does that mean? The prevailing market rate is 10% now, right? That's what it means. So over the years, right, interest rate has gone up, right, over the years, right? 15 years ago, it was, 8%. Now it is 10%, right? And I've been telling you, this is one of the ways it is worded. I've been telling you over and over. That's the way it is worded. In other words, they never tell you straightforward that this is the discount rate. They never tell you this is the discount rate. And then how is it worded? One of the ways it is worded, the bond is priced to yield. Okay. Price to yield, or selling to yield X%. That's one way it is. And then second way, comparable bonds. Comparable bonds mean, so also similar bonds. Comparable or similar. X%. What does that mean? Comparable bonds, that means the bonds of the same risk class. Bonds of the same risk class are comparable bonds, right? You understand bonds have all different risk ratings or credit ratings, right? AAA, AA, single A, triple B, double B. And what those ratings mean? They are the credit rating, credit scores of those bonds, right? And then you don't, so if this particular bond is triple B class, then comparable bonds mean other bonds of triple B class, right? Similar bonds, comparable bonds, and means, the bonds of the same risk class, right? Because you cannot compare triple B bonds with triple A bond, right? Makes sense? So if when they say comparable bonds are paying a yield, paying X%, that means bonds of, on average, bonds of that class, triple B class, are paying X%. That's what it means. This is something like, think about it. If you are a Hollywood actor, right? There's obviously Class A actor and Class B actors and Class C actors, right? And someone like, let's say, Brad Pitt, George Clooney, right? Or Tom Cruise, they would be Class A actors. And the money they make, right? The money the producers are paying them would be different from the money they pay to Class C actors. So if I'm Brad Pitt, I wouldn't compare my income with C-class actors' income, right? I can only compare. So if I'm offered a movie contract, then I would first say, so how much I'm getting? How much are you going to pay me? And if they offer, $10,000, $10 million, then I would wonder, so what would George Clooney make if he was offered the same role? Or what would, right, Tom Cruise make if he was offered the same role? Right? I wouldn't even ask, I wouldn't even wonder, what would Danny DeVito make if he was offered? He wouldn't be offered the same role, right? And the money he would be paid would be so I would only compare myself with other actors of my own league, right? Make sense? That's what it means. Comparable bonds, similar bonds, yield X%, and this on average, this is what, they pay, right? The bonds of the same risk class pay. Third way it is worded is that is what prevailing market rate. Prevailing market rate is X%. Okay, so these are the ways that it is worded. They never say straightforward, this is the discount rate, right? The problems will never say this is the discount. But so from that, you can tell, all right, this is the clue that the discount rate is 10%. So what must Emory's bonds sell for in today's market to yield 10% to the buyer? Okay, so that means, what is the price? First question is, what's the price? So second question, so this is a two-part question. Part A, what's the price? Second, what is the bond's current yield? So we have to answer two questions. So I'm going to get to the current yield later. But first, let's do this problem. So I want you to open this file, right? You all got this. If you're asking me, oh, where is that file? No, it's there in our course materials folder, right? This is that file, right? We probably started working on this last time. So if you open it, if you have opened it, and then I'm going to copy this and paste it here. I copy. So I'm going to make a little change. First, the coupon rate was 8%, right? So I'll change that to 8%. So coupon payment is $40 every semester. How many years left? 10 years, right? And the APR, this is the discount rate, right? 10%. So semi-annually, it will be 5%, right? Semi-annually, it will be 5%. So let's find the price, and we know the formula already. Basically, it's payment over R minus payment over, open parenthesis, R times 1 plus R, and raised to N, close parenthesis. Now this is only the annuity part, right? Present value of the coupons. And then a single cash flow, right? Face value over 1 plus R raised to N. Okay? And then even before we get the result, we can tell this, you can already guess whether this is going to be a discount bond or a premium bond. What do you think? Even before the result, we should be able to guess that. What do you think? Is it going to be a premium bond or is it going to be a discount bond? Anyone? Discount bond. It's going to be a discount bond. Why? Because we already have the clue. Right? The clue is, right? Where's my laser pointer? Okay. This is the clue, right? Coupon rate is 8%, and the coupon rate is less than, okay, I guess there's no bad rate. Coupon rate is less than the discount rate. So it should be a discount bond, right? And your name is? Say it again. Usman. Like O-U. S. Okay, that's your last name? First name. Ousman. Okay, you're getting 0.5. Yeah, and let's see if this is going to be, and hit enter. Yeah, 875.38. So that confirms it. It's the discount bond, right? And the sign is wrong for our current. Now, what is current yield? Oh, what's the current yield? Current yield, now everyone understands the yield is another name for, everyone remember, yield is just another name. What's happening? So what is yield? You all know that the yield is another name for annualized return, right? And there are two types of yields. The first one is current yield, and the other one is yield to maturity. And the current yield is generally, they say it's the short-term yield. Why? Because, yeah, it's current yield is basically what is the maximum return you can get from holding this bond for 1 year, short term, right? For 1 year. But then what is the maximum you can earn? Maximum you can earn is annual coupon, isn't that right? From any bond, the maximum you can earn within 1 year is the annual coupon. What else can you earn from the bond, right? There's nothing else you can earn in 1 year, right? Within 1 year, than just the annual coupon payment, right? Uh, and that means you're not selling it. You're just holding it for 1 year, and what's the maximum you can earn, right? But that's why it is, and then because we are talking about the return, you have to divide it by the price you paid. Isn't that right? The concept of return is basically output to input ratio, right? Concept of return is basically output to input ratio. Isn't that right? This is the output. This is your input. Input or initial investment. So think about it. To invest in this bond, you have to pay the market price. This is the market price, right? That means you have to pay that market price, and for that market price, the annual coupon is maximum you can earn for a year, right? Now, on the other hand, yield to maturity is long-term yield, right? They call this as long-term. What that means is that's the annualized return if you hold this bond until maturity. So let's say 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, I don't know if this is 9 or 10. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, 10. All right. So if this is, in our example, what happened? Oh, I keep erasing timeline. So, so in our example, we have 10 years left to maturity, right? 10 years left to maturity. And if you hold it until maturity, then the annualized return, right? That's yield to maturity. That's why they call it long-term return. Uh, but again, it's not that simple. I mean, it's simple, but mathematically, oh, what it means is slightly. It's mathematically it's called internal rate of return. So let's see what that means. So another way of understanding, yield to maturity is first of all, oh come on. What is the difference between these two? This is my notation, solely my notation. Other people may use, other textbooks may use slightly different notation, but this is the intrinsic value of the bond, intrinsic value, or the rational price, or the fair value. Whereas this one is the market price of the bond. Okay, so, and you understand that the market price is not necessarily the fair value, right? Because market price is the result of the demand and supply. Sometimes, market is swayed by a lot of noise. So the market price, there can be too much demand, right, for supply, then the price will have to go up, right? And there's too little demand for supply, then the price will go down, right? It's just like when you in New York City, right? Especially in Manhattan, or even in 5 boroughs, especially in Manhattan, with $600,000, what kind of apartments can you get? I mean, condos. What kind of condos can you get? You can probably get just one bedroom, one bathroom apartment, right? $600,000. One bedroom, one bathroom, one kitchen. That's all. But with $600,000, if you go out to, let's say, to rural areas, right? 600,000, you can buy, a great house, newly renovated or newly built, right? 6 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, right? 2 kitchens. Quality of living is much higher, right? And in New York City, this little, very, crampy space, very crampy space, and crappy buildings, right? Built in 1800s, right? It's a walk-up. Even there's no elevator, It's a walk. There are many, buildings in the Upper East Side. Very expensive, but it's a walk up. Not well lighted, not well ventilated. On a very humid, muggy day, it's very, in the building, it's very humid and muggy. No centralized air conditioning. You have to, in the 21st century, you have to hang air conditioner out the window. Right? But still, you have to pay $600,000 for a crappy place like that in New York City. In New York City, Manhattan, infested by rats and rodents and cockroaches. That's $600,000, right? The piping and plumbing of the building is dilapidated because it was built in the 19th century. What would you expect? The building was, every once in a while there's a leak because, you have to change the entire pipes, water pipes in the building, but, then you have to open the walls and, floors. You can't do that for the entire building, right? But you have to pay $600,000. So why? Because there's too much demand, right? Supply is limited, too much demand. And as I said, with $600,000, if you go to like Putnam County or that's above Westchester County, and then Dutchess County, right? You get, you'll get a great house for $600,000. Now, so that's the difference between the rational price and the market price. Market price is crazy. Okay? In the short run, market is already always irrational in the short run. Again, but in case of bond, this difference won't be that, the difference would be only minimal in case of bond. Why? Because in case of bond, the cash flow, think about it, everything is, valuation is basically finding the present value. And the present value of what? Future cash flow. Isn't it right? Future cash flow. It's the present value of the future cash flow. And in case of bond, there is no uncertainty about the future cash flow. Isn't that right? Because bond is obvious. Just like the bond is obvious because for the remaining 10 years, you'll get, $60 interest every year, right? Which is $30 every 6 months for the next 10 years. So there is no uncertainty. There is no unknown variable here. So price of the bond cannot be that. So that's the intrinsic value, and intrinsic value and the market price cannot be that much different, right? There won't be drastic difference. But even so, there can be some difference between the two, and this is called, misalignment. And misalignment is the source of profit. If you find something that is mispriced, then that is the source of profit. Isn't that right? Don't you think? You found an Apple store where the iPhone is, $300. Let's say iPhone what? What is the latest iPhone? 13? And how much is iPhone 13? Let's say $2,000. Okay, just if iPhone 13 is $2,000, right? And because they are, what is the actual price? I don't know. It doesn't matter. But it's only sold by Apple Store, and all the Apple stores, they would have the same price, right? So, but somehow you went to, let's say, Dutchess County, and found an Apple store. You walked in there, and you found suddenly the price of this iPhone 13 is $300. That's not likely to happen, but let's say by some computer glitch, their system glitch, their all the other stores, Manhattan, everywhere is $2,000, but that store, only that's in that store, that computer glitch happened. So they were offline for a while. The price was suddenly, wrong price was displayed. But if this happened, and if you happen to be there at the time, wouldn't you buy that iPhone 13 there? Not just one unit, but you will buy probably 10 units. Because 10 units, that's only $3,000. You bring it to New York City. You keep one for yourself, but you can sell 9 for $2,000. Right? So this is a profit opportunity. When anything is undervalued, it's a buy target, isn't it right? So mispricing is mispricing. If there's a mispricing, it's whether it is overpriced or underpriced, especially if it is underpriced, this is a profit opportunity. So again, what I'm saying is, in case of bond, the mispricing is not that drastic. It cannot be, because in case of bond, future cash flow is quite obvious, right? But in case of stock, there can be a lot of mispricing because there are more unknown variables, right? More add-up variables in unknown factors. But anyway, so that is the distinction between these two symbols. This again, this is called intrinsic value, or fair value, or rational price, because that's based on what is rationally expected. So when we already know how to we already know the formula coupon payment over R minus payment over R times 1 plus R raised. Yeah. My handwriting is so. R raised to N plus. However, I would write for this, for market price, I would write it like this. So then, what's the difference? You might wonder. There doesn't seem to be any difference. I mean, aren't they the same formula? Yeah, they are the same formula, but you see, the left-hand side is different. I mean, the symbols are different. Again, they may be equal or they may not be the same. They may or may not be the same. Okay? Most of the times they are not the same. Most of the time, in the short run, they're not the same. And then, in the right-hand side, the discount rate is, the symbol for discount rate is R, and the symbol for discount rate is Y in the bottom. And what's the difference? The difference is that, first of all, in the upper formula, this is the unknown, isn't it right? B is the unknown. Think about it. We want to know this, and everything else is known, is given. Payment is known, or the discount rate is known, N is known, everything is known, right? It's given. And then, because the intrinsic value or the rational price is the unknown, we want to find it. We want to know that. So we solve this equation for that B. But in the second equation, this is not the unknown, this is known. right? Why? Because it's the market price. Market price is what? You can look up the market price. It's the result of the transaction every day, right? So you can look it up. It's the price, it's the known price. And but what is the unknown? This is the unknown. The discount rate is the unknown. And payment is known, right? N is known. Everything else is known. The only thing that's unknown is the discount rate. Now think about it. When you are solving an equation, generally you think you're solving for the left-hand side, right? Right-hand side is all given. You plug in the numbers, you find the left-hand side. But in the second equation, the left-hand side is known, and then the only unknown is the discount rate in the right-hand side. And if you think about it, you have already the market price, right? That you just looked up, and it's in the left-hand side, so this is given. Then the only way the left-hand side, the only way the left-hand side can be equal to the right-hand side is determined only by one number, one variable, which is what? This y, the discount rate. In other words, there can be only one value. There can be only one value, the discount rate, right? There can be only one value that can make the left-hand side equal to the right-hand side. And that one number that can make both sides equal is called internal rate of return. Mathematically, it's called internal rate of return. Right? Internal rate of return is the rate that makes the right-hand side equal to the left-hand side of the equation. And this internal rate of return is the yield to maturity. Of course, it's y, because y is lowercase y, because it's half yield to maturity. Because yield to maturity is annual return, right? Annualized return. But bond valuation formula, bond is on semi-annual cycle, so the discount rate is always half year rate. Make sense? So the internal rate of return is that half year rate, right? So that's what yield to maturity is. Think about it. If we don't know the bond price, but then the other variables are known, so we can solve for the bond price. But in this case, the bond price is known because that's the market price. And then this N is basically maturity, right? If the maturity is 10 years, then N is 20, right? For those 20 semesters, the yield, right? The discount rate, there can be only one discount rate that can make the right-hand side of the equation equal to the left-hand side, right? And that value, that number, is the half-year yield. So yield to maturity is then this times 2. So that's mathematically what yield to maturity is. Right? The internal rate of return, right? That makes the right-hand side equal to that. So with that in mind, now we can finish this. Now you can understand why this is 9.14%. This is current yield. Current yield is basically, annual, right? Coupon payment. This is annual coupon payment, isn't it right? C times, 2 times, this, divided by the price of the bond, selling price of the bond, okay? And of course, in this example, this is B, actually, if you think about it, this is B, because we solved for it. APR was given, think about it, is that right? APR was given, right? So R was given. We solved for it. So this must be B. But why did I use, instead of B, why did I use P sub B? Because, as I said, uh, in case of bond, there isn't that much difference between the intrinsic value and the market price, because there are no unexpected factors, right? There's no unexpected factors in uh, future cash flow. And also, um, in um, in the long run, right? In the long run, market will always, correct itself. Market always corrects itself in the long run, right? If something, in the example I gave you before about the Apple Store, right? In that, let's say that particular Apple Store in Dutchess County, I mean, they were temporarily, their system was messed up temporarily. So the price displayed as $300 for iPhone 13, right? But sooner or later, the system will be fixed. It will be, that glitch will be fixed. The situation will be rectified, and then the price will go back up to $2,000, right? So in the long run, there will be a correction. And if if the price is temporarily off, right, uh, then it will correct itself. Um, and that's the reason why uh, that I use PV here, right? Again, so that's what the current yield is. Okay. All right. So if you are done with this, and let's take a 10-minute break. Okay. Let's take a 10-minute. All righty, 10-minute break. I have two people here. Rose Israel, are you there? Rose? Rowan Klassen?
Yes.
Okay, Rose, you're there. Rowan, are you there? Rowan? Let's
Yeah,
see.
I'm still
Okay.
here.
All right, you're there. Okay, let's take a 10-minute.
It's just tapping the screen.
Still is automatic, like formulation. You have like resources.
But which columns did you take? It was equals and divided by something. Which column?
I'm not
What did you type in?
no, because the still is automatic. You got the PC and then the still just shows.
Okay, so this one is not supposed to change these.
Well,
Like this was supposed to be 5. It says, I mean 80. Let's see how this is 8. No, mine was like that too, but I changed it to changes to 8.
It probably is the
And then
same
it-
as this.
Hmm?
You can out like what's here it should be.
I mean, his came out different calculation because his was 8%.
Because the number is different, so the result is different.
Okay. I got it.
You just go to the formula
Yeah.
library and
Yeah,
check
so
what
okay.
number.
Mhm. I just clicked on the other one that was below, and then I saw it. You know what I mean? The B, when you click on it. it
Yeah.
shows you. Thank you. It's supposed to be like deviated from C.
Oh,
Is it? Yeah, you switch everything. Mine came out to 11. Yeah, but it's the same.
All right, so longer than I thought. So let's think about the next uh, next question. I mean, we're done with this one, and so moving on. Now, we need to talk about, we're going to talk about coal later, but first, there are callable bonds and puttable bonds, but we're going to, that's something that fundamentally, important. Let's think about this one. This is a bond investment strategy. Bond investment strategy when we can anticipate interest rate changes. So first of all, you anticipate long-term rates to go down from 6% to 5.5% during next year. Now, think about it. Valuation, I can tell you, the valuation is basically present value, right? What is the value of, what's the present value of this stock today? Because what's the present value of the bond today? Why? Because all those financial instruments, all those securities, generate cash flow in the future, right? Investment is like tending to a tree, fruit tree, remember, right? The tree will bear fruit in the fall, right? Until then, so you basically buy this tree, and you have to tend to this tree until then. So basically, the fruit we'll have in the harvest in the future is the cash flow, right? Everything. So the cash flow in the future. So basically, how much should this tree be valued today, right? That's basically valuation. So it's the present value, and we understand because it's present value. I mean, it depends on the discount rate. I mean, if the discount rate is high, present value will be low. If the discount rate is low, present value will be higher, right? The stock market has been, really benefiting a lot from the low interest rate for the last decade, since 2008 financial crisis, because the interest rate was, right? The benchmark interest rate was, like 0 to 0.25%. It's been like this for almost, until last year, and only this year the Fed has raised interest rate, right, little by little. And in May, they say they're going to raise it by 50 basis points, right, which means 0.5%, right? Now, in April, they raised it by 0.25, and then they're going to raise it, 0.5. So we can tell from now on, all the prices will be basically lower, right? Stock market was really enjoying the low interest rate. Stock market was booming for the last 10 years. So, and the reason, the market was doing very badly, last week and even until this. Today, it made a turnaround, slight turnaround. But whatever slight turnaround we've had in the past couple of weeks, they were all wiped out. Actually, personally, my own portfolio lost about more than 10%, about 11% from the highest point. The highest point was around November last year, I believe, November or October last year. Since then, I lost about, it's the entire market. So if we can tell how the interest rate will behave, we can use it to our advantage. First of all, so if the interest rate will fall from 6 to 5.5, we can tell, the price will go up, right? The price will go up because the discount rate, that means lower discount. If the rate changes, what will be the total return for 20-year 6.5% coupon bond? So this is the coupon rate. The discount rate are currently, but in the future, right? Okay, next year. So first of all, what's the current price of the bond? The formula, right? This is the coupon payment. And then 20 years left, so 40 semesters. Currently, discount rate is 6%, so half-year rate, 3%. So it comes to this. Next year, price next year, what's it going to be? Coupon will still be the same because it was fixed, right? It's fixed, 6 point. So half year, I mean semi-annually, right? It's still the same thing. But then next year, the discount rate will be 5.5, so half year rate, right? 2.75%, right? Makes sense? And next year, there will be 19 years left. Isn't it right? 19 years left to maturity. Because this year we have 20 years left to maturity. Next year, there will be 19 years left to maturity. So therefore, 38 semesters. So if you do that, voila. The price is even higher next year. The price is even higher next year. Right? Price is even, you know what? So there will be a capital gain. There will be a capital gain during 1 year period. Capital gain of $59. And then you have interest payment of $65 between now and the next year. Between now and, right? The beginning of next year. So the total return will be 214. So you divide it by the price you paid, right? So the holding period return or total return will be 11.74. Okay. Again, take a look at this. Don't give me that. Now, you should all understand that this is maturity, right? This is time zero. And, you know, discount bond, if you have a discount bond, the price of the discount bond will show this pattern over time, right? Isn't that right? You understand? Because at the end, at time t, at maturity, you will get the price of the bond will have to be $1,000 exactly. Isn't that right? At maturity, the bond is $1,000, right? You get the maturity value. But the premium bond will show this pattern over the life of the bond. Isn't that right? Because currently, if it is premium bond, as you approach the maturity, the price will approach $1,000. Make sense? All the bonds, as you approach maturity, the price will be closer and closer and closer to $1,000. Right? Make sense? So the premium bond will show this pattern, whereas discount bond will show this pattern. But that is only if R is constant. If the discount rate is the same. If the discount rate changes, now think about it. It doesn't have to be like that if the discount rate changes. Why? Look at this. Look at this thing. This is a premium bond already. Right? It's a premium bond. And if the interest rate doesn't change next year, it will be, the price will have to be lower than this next year. But the price is even greater next year. Why? Because the discount rate has gone down. Right? So this is something you need to consider, right? When you are, investing in a bond. So we talked about yield, and we talked about yield. I mean, I'm going to show you how you can find yield. So let's go to this Excel file again, and here's our example. Okay, let's say whatever this. There are two ways you can do this. So this example, I think this one is from this example. Okay, so 96.28. You can use, so let's do this example. Let's go to row 22. Row 22. What is this? You might wonder. Face value $100. I mean, isn't the face value $1,000? Yes. But what is this then? This is, you remember in the bond quote, all the bond prices are quoted as percentage of the face value. You remember that? No? You don't remember? That's the first thing we did in the bond. In the print media, right? Bond prices were quoted as percentage of the face value. You forgot? It looks like you guys, what? Huh? Long time. Yeah, but that's why you gotta constantly study. Look. Remember this. Prices basically quoted as percentage of the face value. Right? The price is not $91, it's 91.735% of the face value of 1,000. So that's $917.35. Right? This is, of course, 97.57% of the face value. And the face value of the muni bond is what? Face value of the muni bond is, anyone? What's the face value of the muni bond? 5,000, yes, 5,000. Dilly, we got another 0.5. So, again, this is 100, 104, and 25/32%, right? Remember that? All prices are quoted as percentage of the face value. So, in this example, what it means is, it doesn't mean $100. That means, 100% of the face value. 100%. So that's $1,000, right? Well, we have, because we are expressing everything. So, in this example, 96.28%. So that would be like $962.80, something like that, right? And this is that example, right? So, first of all, we'll have to I-15/10. What is I-15? Okay, so I think I will have to put this. This has to be given. Suppose this is 96280. 96280. Okay. I'll put it as negative. So here, you see what I did? I entered this as negative. Why did I put it as negative? Again, price cannot be negative. But to use, some formulas, in Excel's, built-in function, right? I told you, you have to make distinction between cash inflow and cash outflow, right? So suppose you're buying this bond, you have to pay the market price. That's cash outflow. So you express it as negative, right? And then in the all these coupon payments, cash inflow. Face value, cash inflow in the future, right? But anyway, so I have this, and then in the example, I think this is a 5-year. Let me go back to that. So I'll make it exactly like this, 2016, 2020. Consider 15-year bond with coupon rate of 5.5, paid semi-annually. Interest rate priced 940. The price was already given here as 940. Never mind, it doesn't really matter. I mean, the example I used here, 2016, 2020, that's like 4 years left, okay? So it doesn't matter what year, but what's important is this is a 3.5% coupon bond, right? With 4 years left maturity. 4 years left. That means 8 semesters. Now, let's find the yield to maturity. Since the market price is already given, right? Since the market price is already given. And the T0, and that's today's date. We can change it to really today's date, but I made it equal to this already. This was already entered as, okay, let's make it 2022, right? And what's today? Today is 425. We'll make it 425. And everything is going to automatically change because, oh, that's 15. That was 15 years, but this one is 4 years, right? It was 15 years. This one is 4 years. The way I built it, look, I made it automatically reflect the time left here. Now, so we're going to use yield command, which is a built-in command in Excel. So we're going to go to formula, right, or function, right? And then if you click on that function and go to financial, and if you scroll down to Y, because it's yield, Y, you see yield, right? Click OK. Settlement. Settlement means today. What that means is, if you buy this bond today, you have to settle the account. In other words, you have to make the payment, right? That's what it means. Today's day is the settlement, right? And whether you really buy the bond or not, it doesn't matter. Even if you don't really buy the bond, you're just assuming, for valuation purpose, you're assuming today you buy it. So that way, today's date will be time 0, right? And then maturity, yeah, you give maturity. Rate, this rate means coupon rate. Okay, this rate means coupon rate, so you enter coupon rate. And then this is price. Price is, current market price. You enter that. Redemption, yeah, redemption means future value, right? Face value, maturity value, redemption. You enter that. Frequency, it's 2. Isn't it right? We know frequency twice a year, right? Enter that. You don't have to do anything about basis. That's fine. And then you see something already here. Okay? So we got the yield to maturity, 4.53%.
Can you go back to that?
No, you gotta be, so there's, you see the commas, there's no blank commas, everything is exactly, this is settlement date, maturity date, coupon date, price, current market price, redemption, which is face value, frequency 2, right? So everyone got the same result? You can do it either this way, or you can do it either this way, or you can also find it, look, it's the same example. Let's take a look at this. Row 15. Now this is more natural. Why? It's not, price is not percentage, it's really price. $1,000, 3.5 coupon rate. So coupon payment is this, right? 4 years. Current market price. But again, this current market price is now entered as negative because I told you it has to be cash outflow, right? You must express it as cash outflow. Now, if this is the case, then we will need to solve for this first, half-year rate first. Because you all know you can use the rate command, right? In annuities, we used rate command. So if you use rate command, now, first, N period, N, 8, payment, there you go. Present value, this is the present value. Now it goes in as negative. Future value, that's the future value. And then type, you don't need to put type, that means, either annuity due or ordinary annuity. It's bond, it's ordinary annuity. So you have already something here, 0.0, so hit OK. 2.26%, that's half year rate. If you convert it into the full year rate, you multiply it by 2. There's 2 here, right? There you go. We got the same, right? It's the same example, so you have to get to the same conclusion, same yield to maturity, right?
Can you just go like over them again?
This one?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the rate command, right? So if you click on, this and, select weight, the menu box or whatever you call it, dialog box will open up, and then you enter exactly what it is asking for, N. N, right? You enter N. Payment, enter payment. Present value, enter present value, which was in I's 50. Future value, future value. There's nothing else to do, so you hit enter. And then you get half your rate. Once you do that, you get half your rate. And turning half your rate to full year rate is nothing difficult. This times 2, right? But either way, whether you do it this way or, in this case you use yield command, or whether you do it this way, let's come to the same conclusion. All right? All right. Okay, so that's all the time we have. So if you got the same result, you may be excused. If you have any question, I can, stick around for about, 5-10 minutes. So, any questions? All right, so I guess, all right, so I'll stop recording. Let's stop recording. Let me, where do I go? Okay, stop recording.